So this is going to be a little class participation project that you are going to, you'll submit it separately from what we did on Tuesday and this. That is all one class participation project. It's worth 25 points. If you already submitted what you did on Tuesday, you can go back and just make sure to, when you submit again, submit both pictures because it overwrites the last submission. So you'll want a picture of where'd you go? This chart that you did, and a picture of your techniques. And that is what you will submit for that watercolor charts and techniques one. This next one is going to be labeled, well, let me just decide what I want to label it, and then I'll label it. This is going to be Munsell watercolor matching charts. This is going to also be worth another 25 points because it's a little bit of work here. And what you are going to do is you are going to pick 3 of the Munsell color charts. So you can pick your favorite ones. Some of them have more colors than others, like more little chips. I'm not saying that you have to pick the ones with the most chips. You could be like, I want to do blue-green, blue, and Violet has like quite a few. Maybe yellow, or green-yellow. You know, that's not too bad. Yellow's not terrible. Red's pretty intense. Purple-blue is pretty intense. Purple's, or like the red-purple, quite a bit here, right? But if you just love painting red-purple, who am I to stop you? If you just want some practice doing this, you're going to recreate the color chart by mixing your paint to try to get each one of these. I'm going to give you a few tips to start off with. I'm just going to look at the blue one here. So this blue is going to end up being pretty close to your ultramarine, and you might need to add a little bit of like that viridian hue, or a tiny, you might need to mix a little bit to get it. But you're going to search for that color first and make a decent amount of it. Then I would recommend working up this direction. So this is just going to be adding a little bit more water, adding a little bit more water. The closer we go to the top of our value scale, the closer to white, the more water we're going to add. In order to get closer to just being our lowest chromatic value, we are going to add, where'd my watercolor, what color wheel go? If we're working on blue, the direct cross complement here is orange. So you're just going to add a little bit of orange to it. If you are choosing your colors and you realize, oh hey, I don't have like an orange in my color palette, come up and get some from me. I'll give you some orange. That way you don't have to do as much. I'm mixing yellow and red to get the exact orange, and now I'm mixing that with here. I have an orange that's pretty close to the standard red-yellow Munsell sheet. You're going to pick 3 of these. You're going to replicate them. They do not need to be perfectly even little chips like this. I just want them to be arranged in that similar fashion. So you can like freehand it. If you want to take a ruler and give yourself like little chart lines, you're welcome to do that. If that's just how your brain works, more power to you. but then you will want to label them as well. You'll want to label the value and the chroma. So how I would start is, I'm going to be so brave and not use a ruler. Everybody clap. Don't really. Okay, good. Whew. For a few seconds I was like, uh-oh, I forgot that people can actually respond to me. Okay, so I'm mixing up my blue here, and I would take, what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to take my sheet from earlier, and it's pretty dry. I'm just going to set it off to the side here. That way I have a little space to swatch my color, because that is apparently not my ultramarine. That was apparently a different blue. Yeah, that's much closer. It's kind of dark though. So. Yeah, this blue is a little bit more aqua, so what I might have to end up doing is mixing in some cyan with the ultramarine. And I have cyan for those of you who did not have it in there the first time. Because one of the things that we are having problems with doing this is that we're having to translate from printing. So printing with the CMYK probably is how they print these. I'm not exactly sure. They are like specialty printed, so they could be using a different formulation. Now we're trying to mix paints. So I'm going to mix my two blues together until I feel like I'm getting a pretty good one. That feels actually pretty like accurate. So I'm going to come over and I'm going to like pretend if it was 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to make a little color chart swatch right here. I think my actual preference for doing this for myself would be to put down some lines.
Are you doing blue purple or blue?
This is just the blue that I'm doing right now. So this is just this. It looks a little different on camera, but yeah. Yeah, the camera changes the color some. It can only be so accurate. But I'm constantly referencing my chart here off to the side. Now, I'm going to add a little bit more water to this mixture. And actually, if I had the big old whole plate, I would scoop off some of this mixture to the side and add some water to it. Because I'll want a heavier mixture for when I do my darker colors. So I'm adding some water. And I'm going to paint my next lightest, but in the same chromatic thing. So I'm not adding any color. I am simply adding water to make it a little lighter. And then I will add a little more water and make it a little more lighter.
Are you adding water to the actual?
Yeah, to my actual puddle over here. Sorry, it's hard to fit everything. So I've been adding it to the edge here, and I think I actually need to add, oops, a little bit more. I better lift that off. And that's pretty close. I might realize after I'm done with this that I need to come back and like glaze it slightly with like a little bit more of that cerulean or something to adjust the colors ever so slightly so. The point of this is not that I expect you to turn in 3 pristine, beautiful, exact match masterwork charts here. I just want you to go through the practice of trying to add water to make it lighter. Eventually you will get where you need to add a little bit of black to make it darker, or for a certain amount of it, you can just kind of double up on the layers and it will look darker. So I want you to decide on that. If you need some black as well in your kit, you can either mix it using that burnt umber, which is the super dark brown. Okay, I don't have anywhere to put this stuff. Okay. Not that you can really see it very much, but it's a super dark brown, and then the Payne's gray, or like your ultramarine will work in a pinch. Or I can give you a little bit of black. When you start adding black to go down on the value chart, you want to add tiny, tiny amounts at once. I will give you an example here. So I have my blue. I think I can scooch this enough now. So I'm swatching it over here before I ever decide to put it on my actual chart. You can grab more paper to do this, and you can do more than one chart per page. Like, this is a big chart, so you could go back and cut, or big page, you could go and cut this into a couple pieces. Or you could just have 2 charts. Here, I'm going to say, okay, now I'm going to start working. I would do all of my getting lighter stuff first, because you can't take the black out once you put it in. We'll pretend I've done some of that. Now I'm going to come and I'm going to, it's been a long time since I've used it black straight out of the thing. And I'm actually going to like put it over off to the side here, because I'm just going to mix in like literally the tiniest little drop. And then I'm going to mix that in, and I'm going to test it. Okay, I've mixed a lot of water in there, so I'm going to grab some more of my blue. And then just a little bit of black. Okay. Now, what color do I have here? Okay, that might be a good match for a little less of my chroma and a little darker right here, because this is this value that I'm working for. Next, I'm going to kind of move diagonal again, add a little bit more black, and test it. This is too bright, so this is where I'm going to go over, grab a tiny bit of my orange here and mix that in. Okay, now I have my blue for here. So the general rules of this are, I'm going to write them on the paper here, and then I will write them on the board. That way they're in the video, but they are also available for you to look at tonight. Where did I lost my pencil somewhere. The general rules of this are, oh, there it is. As our value, goes up, we want to add water. As our value goes down, we want to add black. As our chroma goes to our lower values, we want to add the complementary color. Which means the complementary color is the color directly opposite on the color wheel. So my complementary color for blue is orange. My complementary color for red purple is green. And that's how we find it every time. It's just looking directly across on this color chart that's in your book. It's also the same color charts that are up there. It is not quite the same color chart as this. Whoops. These are named slightly different, but it's pretty close. We still have our blue and orange. My CMYK isn't going to get me anywhere. I have seen more color charts go towards this than like the simplicity of it just being red, green, blue, violet. Like they've had this extra step, which is pretty important for getting our full color spectrum. But when they start you out with like the little baby color charts in like grade school, they're like, okay, there's 6 colors in the whole world. It's a little bit more than that. So just, if you have to take a note somewhere, just take these notes. As our value goes up, we want more water. As our value goes down, more black. As our chromatic value decreases towards this like grayed out, what is it? It's a 2 on all of these. Chromatic value, our 2 column, we're going to add more and more of that complementary color. You might mix a color and be like, oh, that's not the next color I needed, but it looks really close to one further down the line. Go ahead and fill it in there. And then just try to add a little bit more blue back to it. You're going to shift this puddle around through all sorts of phases of color. But I would recommend doing your lighter where you haven't mixed any black or any complement into it first, and then slowly work your way towards the rest. Any questions? Okay, so it will be 3 color charts of your choice. All right, I am going to end this video now, and I will write these little notes up on the board so that you have them.